The multi-agency approach of children's centres aims to unite two very different professional heritages: health and education.
When we all first started out, we were all sat in our own little worlds. We all had our own historical backgrounds of where we'd come from, and quite often they were very, very different. Particularly, say, well, health quite often come from a clinical culture. Education is around the children, and they don't often see the whole family. Family's needs are about, the child's development, and bringing those two things together is quite difficult. We have to unlearn a lot of what we've already learned.
I think key to effective partnerships can be individuals, and it can be people who have a shared vision and can also address issues around professional heritage, because that's quite a difficult thing to actually have worked in a particular way and then be asked to work in a different way.
This programme looks at how two leaders of children's centres have overcome the challenges of ensuring effective collaboration between the two services.
I understand you had a worry about
Yeah, we just noticed, I've come to the class here and we just noticed she's got a bit of a rash there.
Collaboration is seen as less of a challenge where services are co-located. For example, at Lune Park Children's Centre in Lancaster.
We felt that it would be really appropriate to have a child health clinic based in the children's centres. And what I've tried to do is work with the team, my management team, the health visitor manager, and all the health visitors in order to actually make that happen and make it happen successfully. So in terms of having people here, they can come in, talk to the health visitor, and the health visitor can signpost on, as well as us being able to signpost health. It's a two-way relationship that works particularly well.
The health visit is just here, so we don't have to make an appointment or anything. So we could just, and when I had a question just like about our rash, it was really useful that the health visit is on hand here, just to say, just reassure you really, so that's really great, yeah.
One of the ways we overcame the challenges in terms of professional heritage is actually working together, planning together and seeing the benefits together, rather than one of us dictating what particular style we were going to use.
But even at centres where services don't share the same building, effective collaboration can be developed. Leaders like Helen Cartwright at Little Owls near Pontefract take a proactive approach.
Initially, the health strand of Children's Centre, there wasn't nothing really to work with, because we were, to be fair, we were newly established. I think they didn't really know we were here, so we knew that we would have to go and link with them rather than expect them to come to us. I do go down to the GP surgery on a weekly basis where we take all our marketing materials, we take registration forms, and basically that is just to pick up the children and the families that are there that possibly don't know about children's centres. So if you put all those children on your registration form and the packs and things that, the information will be sort of age appropriate.
I knew the children's centre had just been built at the side of the school in my village, but I hadn't yet been there. I'd not really read much about it or anything. I was just going to look into it, but I'd not really had a chance. So it's been nice to talk to her today to find out that obviously that Cameron can learn with his speech and play acting and stuff like that.
It has been really successful, but I think there's always the hidden idea that, what do they really want from us, or are they trying to sell us something? And most families have been very surprised when they have come that it is a service that we're offering that they are entitled to, that they really knew nothing about. When I started in Children's Centre, my previous background was health. So I suppose I am quite protective of that. But to be fair, I think the agenda for the Children's Centre was something very new to me too. So not only was I learning about that, I was trying to sort of educate other people about that too. So I was a little bit disappointed initially that the health professionals weren't as enthusiastic as I was. But after saying that, we are doing very well now and they are engaging with us. So there's just a couple of messages in there for you that we've taken from a couple of families.
I go up there once a week and just see if there's anything, up there that we need to know about. Helen's got a book behind the desk that's specifically for the health visitors, and also from that, in the families that we see, sometimes they need a bit of additional support that for whatever reason we might not be able to necessarily offer that.
All right then.
At Lune Park in Lancaster, under Judith Thomas's leadership, a good example of staff collaboration between the co-located health and education services is in speech and language provision.
What do bubbles do, Harry? Pop. Oh, just stirring it. Well done. That's a good try. Yeah. We'll have a look through.
Speech therapist Jill Neame works closely with early years leader Christine Branscombe.
We run an intensive interaction programme, which is absolutely vital, but it's important that we have elements of both the health and the early education there. And I suppose a good example of this is the fact that the course is facilitated by both Christine and Jill.
You were really matching what you were saying
Yes.
to what was happening right at the moment and what he was doing as well. Would you agree?
You started stirring the wand for him and you actually say, oh, we're stirring it, Harry. Maybe words that he doesn't have yet, but you're actually giving him those labels to attach to what he's actually doing anyway.
Right.
So.
What I've found in delivering the courses, it's really nice to have a different perspective. I mean, I think the core of it is around interaction, but there's so many other things that other professions can bring into that. Christine and I have delivered a programme to the nursery as well on facilitating communication.
What does the kite do?
It flies to the clouds.
I've also found it very helpful to work with Christine in particular because she has the lead obviously on education within the children's centre and also the nursery.
Working with the speech and language therapist with Jill, we have daily contact. We're always speaking to each other, asking for advice, talking about how things have worked out. She's certainly got lots of ideas and lots of different strategies. Before I dry up, I know I can ask Jill for support and for some other advice.
I like that little section there because she copied him after he'd said it, she reinforced it.
Judith has always encouraged that, it is that, we're all under one roof and it's not a case of, oh, that person must deal with it, and it's all about all of us sharing professionalism, sharing thoughts and ideas, and it helps all of us. It's not, it's not one way, it's two-way constantly.
Judith's leadership style includes a high level of delegation to staff responsible for both health and educational provision.
So I've got two managers. I've got Christine, who's the early years teacher, and I've got Janet, who leads on health and social care and is also the deputy. And it's very important to me to be able to delegate to them so that their skills and knowledge actually are active in terms of the planning.
So early years leader Christine and health leader Janet are closely involved in planning a smooth transition when speech therapist Jill plans to leave the centre to work in another post with autistic children.
So whoever takes over from Jill, is it better that the day-to-day stuff's done through early years and your team?
Right, okay.
As opposed to Janet. So that's something
we can have
quite a lot to think about, really. One of the best things I ever read was that a really good leader is one that when they finished, people feel they've done that work themselves. And I think that's absolutely vital. And I try and bring that to everything that we do, and it's going to be pivotal to the change that we're going to have in personnel when Jill leaves us, because we're going to have to get that right.
Empowering staff by involving them in decisions is also a feature of Helen's leadership at Little Owls near Pontefract.
Had your glasses on. Have a look around the circle. We're ready to look around the circle. Where's Caitlin gone? Caitlin! Caitlin!
Helen's promoted us as individual workers, and she's given our responsibility for our own kind of profession that we've got within the centre. So it makes everybody feel valued at what they're doing, and she gives you that support. She allows you to go on and develop your ideas, and it just lets the centre work together and we're all feet off each other sort of thing.
The staff independently feel confident enough to make professional decisions on who they need to refer to. So from the stay and play sessions, there are children that have been referred directly into the speech and language drop-in.
This happened when Helen, the centre's qualified teacher, identified Archie as struggling with communication skills.
Helen decided that it would be an idea to actually ask Mum to pop in to drop in.
So at first I didn't really think that Archie had got a problem, and then one of his teachers had said something about his speech, and I spoke to Helen. Anyway, I come, and within 2 weeks I got a letter saying that he got a visit to go see a speech therapist. And in 6 months, he's had 3 lessons and he's coming absolutely fantastic.
I feel, as a teacher, that I've picked something up that's not just going to help him in the short term, as a teacher would, but in the long term. It means that he won't have any barriers, really, to his education, hopefully.
Archie's difficulties were picked up at another of Helen's initiatives to meet the challenge of health and education services not being co-located. She pioneered a speech and language pilot drop-in for the whole area by simply offering a room at the centre.
So what words does she use?
She says mummy, daddy, and she can say granddad, grandma, and stuff like that, but it's just when you're not really watching her.
Literacy has been an ongoing area with a need for improvement, really, and I think the referrals into speech and language have been quite heavy because of those problems that have been identified at that stage. South Kirby is an area of deprivation, of worklessness, so I think it's the early intervention that has to be identified.
The sort of age she is expected to be developing the sort of single words that she's understanding, and then building up her own repertoire of single words as well at the moment.
So I think that's what we need to be looking at, really. Being in the centre makes us a more familiar face to people who live in the area. So even people who just come in and out for the groups and things might see us just in the centre, one of the staff here. So if they do at a later stage have a worry about their child's speech and language, then they come and see us, and it's not a sort of a separate new thing. It seems more open and accessible to them, I hope.
I think there is really a shared ethos in the centre around the importance of communication and building speech and language skills in these early years, and we do feel very supported in being here. I mean, the Children's Centre staff have been great at identifying children and families that they know of and suggesting that they come and see us here.
Both leaders have demonstrated that health and education colleagues can collaborate successfully. And for both, the key to really successful leadership is keeping a clear eye on the big picture.
To me, good leadership is about sharing, or I think sort of like maybe realising the agenda, but creating the vision that everybody is working towards. We sort of picked out of the Children's Centre agenda, it was basically to improve outcomes for children and families, and we have tried to keep it as basic as that. The scope within that is massive. There are so many different areas where expertise is needed to address those needs, but that still boils down to trying to improve outcomes. So I think if we keep that vision simple, it's far easier for people to buy into that.
I think the most important thing is to keep the objectives clear. We have to always remember why we're here. Keep your focus on what you're trying to achieve and work through the honesty and the value part of it, so that you're actually all working together and you have the common vision and the shared values. I think then you maximise the work that you can do, and that is paramount to the way we work together within health and education.
Right, ready, steady,